Hi guys, so the article that I was instructed to review is the body ritual among the Nagarima people. So the Nagarima people are very different from Americans, but also similar in many ways, which I'll explain. So these people are a North American group and they're living in territories in between the Yaqui and the Tarahumara of Mexico, as well as the Carib and the Arawak of the Antilles. These people are different but similar in the senses of the three focuses that I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about. So I picked three things that I found intriguing about them. So they're focused on wealth, they're focused on their self-image, as well as their spiritual life. I think the spiritual life is the most different one. So their wealth, they're focused on their wealth as a culture. They all worry about the economy and they all work. I'm assuming that there's people that aren't as driven as others, but that is something that they are prideful of, and do their best to maintain as a whole, which is, I would consider, similar to Americans as well. Another thing that they're very focused on is their self-image. So their self-image, they eat healthy, they take care of their body because they look at it as a temple. They look at their body as a temple, so they dress nice, they do their best to take care of their self-image. Another thing that I would like to go into is their spiritual life. So this would be the most different. It's very different in the sense that they as a culture believe in almost something magical, is a way that I'd like to explain it. They all have a box. So what I read in the article is that every house has a box of items that they consider magical, that they go in and they pray to at least once a day. Another thing that they have is each family or household has at least one shrine in their house. So they contribute a lot to their spiritual life, which I think is really amazing. But yeah, I would explain their culture to be a pantheist culture. Like I said, this box contains things that they consider are magical, allowing them to be able to connect with what they say is a higher power through prayer to the box, which is very interesting. So it's pretty safe to say that if I was coming from the Nagarima culture into regular American culture, I would have culture shock. There's a lot of things that Americans do that a lot of people would consider weird, and some things would probably be our holidays. So I am going to be talking about Easter, but I'm going to be talking about Easter from the Christian culture view. So Easter originally is a Christian holiday. This holiday is dedicated to celebrating the resurrection of Christ on that day. So one thing I do find weird is that the holiday, it varies. It's not always on the same day, so it's kind of hard to be able to tell like what day Christ actually rose. I am talking about this from my view. I think that that is one thing that is a little bit weird. During this season, it's a time of what I would say love. It's a time of celebration. It's a time of just celebrating the fact that he rose. So typically people will say, like, during this holiday, he is risen, or Happy and Holy Easter. So I think that Happy and Holy Easter is a good way to say it and greet people on this day, because it takes the evolutionized version of Easter, and it also gives credit to what the holiday is really for, which I feel that always has to be credited. Eventually, Easter became more than just a religious holiday. So Easter can be tracked back all the way to the 2nd century. That's a very, very, very long time ago. So Easter's tracked back all the way to the 2nd century. And then, what do you usually think about when you hear or talk about Easter? You think about the Easter bunny and the Easter eggs, right? So Easter eggs are dated back to the 13th century. Not only there's so many different types of Easter eggs. There's egg tapping, which people do. There's confetti eggs. People dye eggs. I wouldn't say that they all have a meaning to them, but eggs play a pretty big part in the holiday. Another thing that people also do is they have Easter egg hunts. So then, talking about the Easter Bunny, the Easter Bunny is usually the one who brings the Easter egg hunts, right? So the Easter Bunny started in the late 1700s, so it kind of evolutionized, right? One thing that I would find weird, and I do want to point out, it's probably something that you haven't thought about, is the fact that bunnies don't lay eggs. Bunnies have baby bunnies. So why does the Easter bunny bring eggs and not bunnies? It doesn't really make sense. But like I said, if you're coming from the Nakarama culture, most of it won't make sense, right? So not only do people do just Easter egg hunts or whatever, they also do gift giving. So you'll get an Easter egg basket, which will come with multiple things than rather than just the Easter eggs. So some things that occur on Easter is a lot of small shops or Christian-based stores will be closed for the day. One store that I would like to point out is Hobby Lobby. So Hobby Lobby is a Christian store, and it is closed on Easter Sunday because of the holiday. Kids also get spring break around this time, so they get about a whole week off, and it's trying to correlate the holiday in it. There's no correlation in between the bunny, there's no correlation in between the eggs, and I doubt there's any correlation in between that and spring break, but that does take place, and it does happen in California. So yeah, there's just a whole bunch of different things that the people do. So what are some of the benefits from it? America definitely benefits off of Easter economically. They benefit in the way that they make a lot of money, right? So the economy benefits from it because people buy gifts, people buy eggs, people buy the Easter bunny costumes. So yeah, a lot of money is spent during this time, especially because people gather. But it's important to remember the actual meaning behind Easter, which is the resurrection of Christ, that I would like to conclude with saying. So yeah, if you came from a different culture on Easter, you would probably be a little confused, and I can definitely see why.